Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute epic saga of market evolution. We are going to decode the dense but honestly fascinating academic theories that serve as a literal survival guide for modern startups. So, if you've ever wondered how tiny, scrappy teams manage to topple massive, entrenched monopolies, you are definitely in the right place.
To set the stage for all of this, let's look at this quote by Joseph Schumpeter. It captures our core theme perfectly. We're looking at creative destruction, how new ideas systematically and relentlessly dismantle the old guard from the inside out. It's like watching a giant puzzle get taken apart and rebuilt in real time.
All right, here's our structural roadmap for today. First, setting the technological stage. Second, why industry giants fall. Third, the architecture of opportunity. Fourth, open innovation and platforms. And finally, the autonomous digital future.
Section 1. Setting the technological stage, the battleground. We are starting by mapping out the terrain. To win as a startup, you absolutely have to understand the battlefield, because as history shows us time and again, it's rarely the absolute best technology that wins. It's the most adoptable.
Drawing from the legendary media theorist Marshall McLuhan, you've really got to know the temperature of your innovation. Are you building a polished, hot product? Because hot innovations increase performance along existing dimensions, kind of like a high-definition 3D movie. They demand very little participation from the user, and honestly, incumbents love hot innovations. Or are you building a cold, scrappy entry point? Cold innovations are low definition. They actually require the user to participate to fill in the gaps. And for a startup, that is your sweet spot. It creates a vacuum that established giants simply aren't flexible enough to fill.
And this is exactly why so many startups just hit a wall and fail. According to Everett-Rogers' diffusion curve, you have to cross the chasm. That's the gap between early visionaries who absolutely love your cold, scrappy product and the pragmatic early majority who, well, they just want something that works. To cross this death zone, you have to actively lower barriers to entry. Specifically, you need to overcome sunk costs, switching costs, and learning costs. So, dominating one specific niche before trying to conquer the whole world, that isn't just good advice, it's basic survival.
Moving right along to Section 2, why industry giants fall? Slaying the giant. Now we transition from the battlefield itself to the actual mechanics of disruption. How does David actually pull this off?
It's a huge puzzle, right? Researchers have studied this for decades. Do these massive incumbents fall just because their leadership gets lazy and complacent? Or is there like a fatal flaw baked right into the very structure of a massive corporation?
Well, the answer lies in what Tushman and Anderson call competence-destroying innovation. Think about Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster's massive retail footprint and physical logistics were incredible core competencies, but when streaming arrived, those exact same strengths turned into fatal rigidities. If an innovation enhances what a giant already does well, they will crush you. But if it destroys the value of their existing expertise, the giant is paralyzed, and that gives the startup a completely clear runway to take off.
Section 3. The architecture of opportunity. Next up, we are going to explore the invisible blueprints of products. We'll look at how the literal structure of what you build dictates whether your company survives or dies. This brings us to architectural innovation. Think about a ceiling fan and a portable desk fan. They use the exact same components, right? A motor, some blades, a guard. But a ceiling fan maker can't simply pivot tomorrow to making desk fans. Why not? Because their entire engineering team, their supply chain, their communication channels, they're all rigidly locked into the ceiling architecture. When an entrepreneur merely changes how existing components link together, it completely short-circuits the incumbent's organizational knowledge.
Let's actually zoom out for a second to a macro, geopolitical level to see this in action. Take an integrated system, like legacy oil infrastructure. It's highly efficient, but it's deeply vulnerable. Hitting just one central node can paralyze the whole thing. In contrast, a modular architecture, like a distributed green energy grid, is inherently far more resilient and agile. Destroying one chunk leaves the rest completely unaffected. Startups win by adopting this exact kind of modular, resilient architecture against tightly integrated, slow-moving giants.
And speaking of building resilient structures, we absolutely have to talk about actor network theory. This framework radically suggests that to build a successful startup, you must hire non-human allies. Your website, your algorithms, your prototypes, even your legal documents. They aren't just passive tools. They actually have agency. They're active members of your team translating your vision into reality. So yes, your terms of service agreement is technically your co-founder. A startup isn't just a clever idea, it's an engineered network of human and non-human actors locked together. All right, Section 4. Open innovation and platforms, the new weapons. We are leaving traditional hardware and physical constraints in the rearview mirror and equipping you with the modern weapons you need to scale digital ecosystems.
We really need to stop viewing software as just a laundry list of features. We need to look at affordances. Just like a physical door handle affords pulling, a digital platform affords specific actions, like scaling, networking, and rapid community support during a crisis. When you finally understand what your technology actually affords, you stop selling a mere tool and you start selling an architecture of opportunity.
The story of Shopify is a perfect example of this in action. They actually started as Snow Devil, trying to sell high-end snowboards, but they hit a massive wall of rigid, terrible legacy e-commerce software. But instead of throwing in the towel, the founders used incredible cognitive flexibility. They stopped selling snowboards, pivoted completely, and built a modular API framework. They didn't just build a new store, they literally built a digital toll road for global internet retail.
Which leads directly into generativity theory. The ultimate question you have to ask yourself as a modern founder is this: are you building a closed toaster with exactly one function, or are you building an open platform like the iPhone? Generativity is this almost magical capacity of a platform to invite thousands of strangers to build unprompted, completely unplanned innovations right on top of your foundation.
A classic example? Apple's Face ID. Apple didn't just create a cool parlor trick to unlock your screen. They democratized their entire biometric layer. By opening a secure API, they allowed thousands of independent banking and security apps to instantly upgrade their own software. Apple organically accelerated value creation across the entire mobile landscape without having to plan, coordinate, or pay for a single one of those downstream innovations. It is just a staggering point of strategic leverage. And this open philosophy brings us to what we call born open startups. These are companies that give away their core tech entirely for free. But how do you monetize free? Well, you charge for hosting, enterprise support, or proprietary extensions. A born open strategy, kind of like what we've seen recently with the DeepSeek AI model, treats openness as a highly aggressive competitive weapon. But a quick word of warning, the true risk here isn't your competitors, it's the bus factor. Code decays. If your solo lead developer burns out or literally gets hit by a bus, the whole project dies. So true open innovation absolutely requires resilient institutional stewardship to keep the code from rotting. Finally, Section 5, the autonomous digital future, the endgame. We're looking at the absolute bleeding edge of first principles thinking and the ultimate culmination of digital entrepreneurship as we know it today. To build the future, you've literally got to stop reasoning by analogy. That just means copying what already exists with a few slight tweaks. First principles thinking strips a problem down to its bare, indisputable physics. Take Elon Musk. He realized the raw materials of a rocket only accounted for 2% of its actual cost. The other 98%? That was just legacy bureaucracy and bad manufacturing. By completely bypassing traditional aerospace analogies, he reinvented the manufacturing process from the atoms up. And that first principles approach? That is exactly what powers today's digital ventures. They break all the old rules. Instead of heavy capital and physical inventory, they prioritize informational, code-based assets that scale at literally zero marginal cost. Instead of massive human headcounts and local business parks, they rely on tiny core teams operating within global, totally borderless digital ecosystems. To put that incredible structural advantage into perspective, $30 billion. That staggering estimated valuation belongs to Telegram. It's a global messaging network reaching nearly 1 billion active users. And you know what the most shocking part is? It's operated by a core team of only roughly 30 to 50 people. The leverage created by these digital architectures is just historically unprecedented. Which leads us to the ultimate endgame. We are hurtling toward a future of rogue, self-optimizing digital businesses. Just imagine a prolific founder passes away, but their suite of fully autonomous, self-healing, and self-funding entities continues to operate, market, and maximize profits in the cloud indefinitely. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When the human is gone, but the network continues to build and scale itself, who is truly the entrepreneur?